Welcome to episode 80 of Discourse in Magic with magic legend Mahdi Gilbert. Now, if you don't know who he is, you should probably turn on your TV, open up your YouTube, go to your Instagram, and find out. Because this guy has swept the nation, really. And what's even crazier is what he's overcome. You know, he was born with no arms, which means that to learn magic, especially card magic, is absolutely incredible. He walks us through his story, how he did that. Of course, he has to invent every move that he uses because he can't use a move that's in any books. And he is an absolute genius. And we talk all about, you know, emerging YouTube and other incredible things going on in the world of magic. So this guy has a lot to say, and it is really, really cutting edge stuff. I hope you love episode 80 with magic legend Mahdi Gilbert. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Discourse in Magic. My name is Jonah.
My name is Tyler.
And we are here. No, not yet. Settle down. Okay, not yet. We will introduce you. Yeah, no. So we are here with, first of all, another very exciting in-person interview with someone who is a massive name in Toronto and around the world. Is one of our favorite examples. Tyler and I were just joking about, you know, when we have friends or kids, when we teach kids magic and they say like, oh, like I can't really do magic, like I have small hands. We use Mahdi as an example, and he has really done incredible things. We're very excited. Here he is, Mahdi Gilbert. How are you doing today?
Very good, very good. And it's funny, my name is Mahdi Gilbert, which...
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Which, by the way, they said it correctly on Penn and Teller. I was on Fool Us.
Oh man, I'm so sorry.
But in many places I go, they mess it up. So, and I never liked I never liked my last name. So now I just go by Mahdi the Magician, which
Mahdi
I
the
feel
Magician.
is more.
I like Gilbert. That's a cool last name.
I think Gilbert is sick.
I feel like everyone calls
it'll
you
go down
Mahdi
in history.
Gilbert,
yeah,
which is so. It's Mahdi Gilbert. Now
Mahdi
I know.
Gilbert. Now we know.
All right, we can end the interview now. I've
and
learned
there we go.
all
That
I
was
wanted
it.
to learn.
I mean, that's pretty much all I had to say. So.
Stop calling me Gilbert. I love it.
So hashtag stop calling me Gilbert. So let's start at the beginning. How did you get into magic?
Okay, so I was always interested in magic ever since I was a little kid, but I never really had too much exposure to it. I didn't see magic. I didn't have TV. I didn't have access to the internet to watch videos. So I never saw magic, but I had heard about it because kids at school had told me about it. So I knew that there was such thing as magic, and I knew that there was such thing as magicians. And to me, I felt in my life that there were so many things that I wanted to do, but I felt they were impossible for me, out of reach. And that's why I was attracted to do magic, because I figured in my childhood logic, if I become a magician, then I'll be able to do anything. It was that simple for me. So that's why I made the decision to get into it.
Wow, that is incredible. And have you found the fun and the joy in being able to do anything and do...
To be honest, I've just been disappointed for the last few years.
It's just carding coin tricks. I don't know what the heck.
Yeah, I pretty much learned some card stuff and then it stopped there. I mean, it was downhill. It was downhill after the Royal Road. The Royal Road went downhill.
It was the Royal Road to downhill.
Went downhill.
It was a downhill road, the Royal Road, yeah. So let's dive in a little bit more into what your journey was. So you decided that you wanted to do magic, and I mean, you can't just go start and, I mean, you can read the classics, but you almost have to, or you do have to reinvent everything for yourself. So talk a little bit about that, what that journey was like.
So when I wanted to start, I remember telling everybody around me that I was going to be a magician. I didn't know how. And everybody thought and told me that they thought it was the stupidest thing that I could possibly be. They said, Mahdi, you're too small. How are people going to see you on stage? You don't have hands. Have you ever heard of a magician without hands? And back
Sleight of hand.
Back then, I also had a speech impediment. Not really. It's more of a disorder, but I had trouble speaking, and they're like, you know, you can't speak. You have a weird. Nobody can pronounce your last name.
There's so much against you, really.
Kid, you're not gonna have a career in showbiz. And for many years, but for many years, in all seriousness, I believed them, and it was pretty depressing for me because here was this goal that I had and I wanted to do, but there was no path to it. And I remember when I was 13, I stumbled across a video on the internet of Darren Brown. And it was by complete accident. And in the video, as in all his TV shows, he says everything in the show is being accomplished by the mixture of psychology, suggestion, misdirection, hypnosis, and memory. And for me, this was a complete, wake-up call. Wow. Yeah. I may not have hands, but I have a mouth and I have a brain.
Mind, yeah.
And because of that, maybe I can do what he's doing. So I remember I would go on his website and he had all these resources that you could look up, books on memory and psychology and all the things that he talked about, NLP in his show. And so I would go to the library and I would read these books and try to decipher how he did some of his tricks. And little did I know he was using more traditional magic techniques. But for me, it was sort of my entry into that obscure world of the unknown and secret knowledge being imparted to me from these books.
And then you went from there and you were like, you know what seems the most logical? Card magic.
Well, it didn't go that fast. So when I was about 13, 14, I started to create my own effects, and because I really didn't know too much about mentalism techniques and the different books.
So you were making effects based on what you had read in library psychology books.
So I'll give you an example of an effect that I did. I would do psychic readings at my school based on cold reading, and one day I had a series of detentions, which I won't get into. But I was sent to the office, and inside the office, the secretary liked me, so instead of just leaving me to my own devices at the table, she would let me play on the computer. And on the computer, I would play solitaire, Minesweeper, that sort of thing, and, just mess around in the files. And when I did that, one day I discovered this master file for the school, and so it had everybody in the school's name, their address, their marks.
So you just became the best mind reader in the world.
Well, so not instantly. So what I did is I made a copy back then they had floppy disks and, little CDs. So I made a copy and I brought it home. And for every student, we had about 1,000 students in our school, I would make a separate document and then put all the information I could and print it out. So I had a file at home with information on everybody. And every single time I was in the hallway and overhearing information or just collecting information, I would just add that note, this person's going out with this person got a new dog, this person, whatever problem, anything I could hear and make out.
Dream.
Wow.
I would put it in my notes. So then I would have a little extra something to put in my psychic readings, and that's sort of how I slowly started, just coming up with, my own ingenuity.
Right. Oh, so that's a good example of how somebody might, not knowing how someone could look at someone and tell them their dog's name, or the name, they would instead, excitedly find a database and collect data for as long as they could, because they wouldn't know that you could maybe ask them to write it down and then do something clever with that. So that's interesting, but it's also a good example of how much creativity and ingenuity leads us to Tyler and I are giggling in excitement of what a mentalist dream, right?
Yeah,
would be to have that, and that's something that nobody really thinks of, I guess.
It's amazing because most mentalists, I also was in a very specific framework. I was in school, I was surrounded by the same people every day, and it's different for everybody. Mm-hmm. But, a mentalist could still do the same thing today based on their environment. If they have 100%. A show, maybe they know who's coming to the show, and instead of just doing the most obvious thing and going on their social media, they could go a lot more. Once you
Yeah.
have people's name and information, depending on how far you want to take it, you can
Yeah.
find out a lot about them
Right.
and later reveal that back to them
Yeah.
or reveal
awesome.
it to somebody else,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
That's awesome.
through...
how did you make the switch out of mentalism? Because I've seen you perform, but I don't think I've ever seen you do a mentalism effect. You mainly do sleight of hand now.
So it's funny. For me, in between the ages of 14 and 17, I did only this mind reading stuff. That's all I could do. And I was having quite a bit of success with it, coming up with my own things. And for the first time in my life, it was like, I felt like...
And you still hadn't, like, heard of magic resources. You were just...
I slowly
maybe
learned...
starting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I slowly... I mean, I wasn't a complete,
Yeah.
layman. But at the same time, I wasn't... I didn't really have access to magic books. I didn't
Right.
know that there were magic
There
publishers.
was no real YouTube,
The first
so it
time
was
I
like-
went to my magic shop was when I was 16. I believe I was 16. And I picked up some cards and I picked up Erdnase because everybody recommended it online. A little too advanced for me. And for me, I wanted to make the switch because at that point in my life, all the magic that I did was only in people's minds. It was almost abstract and not real in a way. And I wanted my magic to enter the physical world, to be real, something that people could actually see instead of imagining,
Yeah,
and
something
actually
tangible.
touch instead of just feeling inside. So I was 16 and I decided that on my 17th birthday, I would learn sleight of hand. I didn't have a plan. I didn't think it could be done, but that's sort of my deadline that I set for myself. I said, it's my 17th birthday. I'm gonna start that day.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I couldn't cut. I couldn't shuffle. I couldn't even pick up a deck of cards. I really did not have the dexterity. I mean, I couldn't even hold a deck of cards. They're slippery. There's 52
Right.
pieces of slippery paper. It's not easy when you don't have hands. I mean, I make it look a little easier now, but
Yeah.
it's legitimately not easy. And I feel like I had heard so many negative things in my life that I didn't want anybody to see me and feel sorry for me, like, oh, here's this poor kid trying to do something impossible. So what I would do is I would sit up in my room with my deck of cards in my bed, and I would wait until everybody in my house went to sleep, and I would sit there in the dark with my deck of cards trying to figure out how to do stuff, how to hold it, how to shuffle, how to do a double lift. My first double lift, I thought I was so clever. I didn't know any techniques to do it, to hold those two cards together because it's hard. You have to pick up two cards together. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about technique if we're not allowed to.
No, I mean, we can talk about what it is, and we can. I mean, it's very relevant.
Yeah, and
so-
if you're listening to this, you know what a double lift is.
Yeah, it's
probably.
very
Like,
relevant.
it's okay.
I mean, basically, not to expose anything, it's holding two cards together so they look as one.
Yeah.
And it isn't very hard to do. You basically need to be a master of sleight of hand to do it very well. So for me, instead of learning how to do it very well, I would lick the back of a playing card
Right.
and then stick the other card
Right.
to it and really press it down until they would stick together, and then I would do my little trick that required that secret.
Right.
And so it was a very, very slow start, developing a handling, developing just everything that you need to develop. And it was just slowly from there. I don't really have an answer for how it got to the point that it was. I've been doing it now for 10 years, sleight of hand, and I can tell you the improvements are ridiculous. I can't even compare. If I were to I could not duplicate how low dexterity I was before.
Right.
I am now. I can't compare. People wouldn't believe me. Oh, you couldn't hold the deck of cards. It's like, I literally couldn't do it.
Have you noticed a change outside of magic since doing magic, like with increased dexterity and anything like that, or did you have everything outside of magic pretty much figured out by then?
It definitely increased my dexterity. I would say that I was always pretty dexterous, but it's such a unique skill set that unless you really spend the time with it, you can't just pick it up. Like, let's say you're an expert at playing the violin. It's not like I can just give you a deck of cards and you'll be able to deal well.
Right.
It's so unique. But I'm sort of lucky in that I think I had pretty high dexterity all my life, so it obviously helped. And I don't think I would be able to do the stuff that I'm doing if I didn't have, good dexterity.
One of the stories that I brought up to you before this interview, and I brought up to Tyler, which was, I think, one of the first times that we crossed paths in Toronto. I knew who you were, but it was the first browser bash, or maybe the second, I don't remember. And at it, I remember that so many people were presenting, and everyone was talking about, you gotta love your audience and all this stuff, and great material. But I mean, I was very highbrow. I was excited. I have a magic podcast. I talk a lot of theory. I was excited to be at a convention to hear people talk about interesting new sleights and methods. That's why I showed up. And then you came out, and I thought that you would. I thought that you would say, like, you would tell your story, and say, like, oh, I overcame this, and I was like, okay. And then you came out and you told everyone that everyone sucked at handling doubles, and that they were all doing a bad job, and that you can usually see when there's doubles, and you gave everyone tips on how to handle their doubles. And to me, that was just such a wake-up call to not just the importance of method, but you had to reinvent everything. And with that, you're able to look at things in a new light. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah,
this looks crazy.
Different perspective.
Before I get into that, I'm going to say right before I went on stage, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. But what I always do, and what I recommend you follow this, is always do the complete opposite of what you see everybody else doing. And when you do that, it just stands out a lot more.
Yeah.
So I had many talks in my mind that I had, prepared. It wasn't my first time speaking. But as you were saying, because I learned all this stuff for myself, I feel like I really got to understand it. Like now, I would say, and I'm not trying to brag or say anything, but I understand the handling of double cards. I understand it very well at a high level. Probably, I would say there's very few people who understand it as well as me. I mean, and I'm not trying to brag or gloat or. It's just, and the reason why I'm able to do that is because I had no books to teach me. I literally had to sit down and figure out every single possible way to handle those two cards as one, and that's obviously been a great benefit to me. Instead of just learning it from other people or learning it from a book, I had to literally teach myself how to do this from nothing.
Yeah. So while you've taught yourself quite a bit from nothing, as I understand it, you're still incredibly well read in the world of magic, and you spent a lot of time working with a large amount of magic books. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're talking about conjuring arts,
That's
or what are we talking about?
But I was talking about also that you're well read.
Yeah, I
trying to be coy,
I spent quite a bit of time at Conjuring Arts. I sort of have lived in New York for a brief period of time in 2013, volunteering at the library, and then I did that again starting in 2015, and I've been doing that until now. So I've been around those books and stuff, and I wouldn't say, I don't know, I mean, we have a lot of books there, and there's a lot of research that goes on, and really interesting stuff that goes on. But for me, I found the greatest thing for my development, and it sounds sort of weird, but it was just being surrounded by magic all day, like literally 24 hours a day. And because of that, I'm always thinking about it, and it's just, it's not something that I devote time to. Like, I don't sit down and like, okay, this hour I'm going to read, and then, I have 3 hours here, I'm going to practice. It's like a lifestyle. Like, you're literally in it all day, and it's like, yeah, you do other stuff, but that other stuff is...
It's just magic.
That's the
just
stuff
other
you
stuff.
schedule time for, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's 1 o'clock. I got to do this.
It's so funny. I was at an event recently, and I do like, I do like gigs, and I do this, and I do Toronto Magic Company. And so I was talking to someone, and they're like, "What do you do? What do you do outside of magic in life?" And I was like,
Pay the rent?
Well, I do a lot of things that are outside of magic that involve magic. Like I really like writing. What do you write about? Magic. But on that same note, like I've found that in the last 6 to 12 months, like my magic has gone forward 120%. Whereas when I was in university, I spent 8 hours a day studying math, and then I would do magic on the side. And like, of course, I'm growing and getting better at a faster rate, being wildly surrounded. So yeah, that's even a take home point for people at home where, a lot of people aren't as lucky as we are and are able to spend time in Toronto and New York. I mean, we get a lot of emails from fans who are like, yeah, no, there's no magician and no magic store anywhere within like a 5-hour drive or plane ride of where I live. And you're like, oh, good. Yeah. So with that, there's a lot of magic resources online, which I wanted to bring up and sort of start diving into, because I think that you've done an incredible job, especially as of recently, to appear online. And one of my favorite places is in Instagram stories. A lot of people are doing very creative things on Instagram stories, maybe cool photos, cool videos. And one of the things that you're doing that I'm just obsessed with is your writing in Instagram stories, which means people are reading articles, basically, but clip through clip, next page through an Instagram story, and learning your writing, So talk a little bit about that, why you do that format, how you got into it.
I try to keep it very much related to how I'm thinking and feeling in the moment. Sometimes you'll see me write things that are a bit longer. I'll go into a theory of this, why this is good, why this is bad. And I will write about it. And it's funny because I don't think the platform's intended for that. But, I think a lot of these people following me are interested in my thoughts and stuff. And I don't really have an outlet to put it out in. I don't want to sit down and write a blog post. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've written blog posts before. But sometimes... I'm sitting on my couch and
You just want to share an idea then and there.
Yeah, I have an idea, or I have, or I just saw a show last night and I'm like, okay, this was good, this was bad. How can I talk about this without,
insulting
anybody?
Yeah.
How can I put this out, my feelings about certain things in the world? Oh, I'm reading this book. What do I think about this? It allows me to express myself, which is what I think the platform's about, allowing you to connect with people.
Yeah.
And it's, we've spoken about it before, but it's uncurated, right? Like it's an in the moment, real time, this is how you're feeling now. And it's not like, I feel like a blog post is something that you need to put more time into making sure it's exactly how you feel for eternity. Like you're very sure.
I mean, look at this podcast. Like we set up, we record it, we edit it. It comes out alongside text with, so like this is not a 30-second show. But with that, it also means that I can't be like, I want to help magicians with this. And then I pick a mic and go, hello, everybody. We're going to, it's not like that. This comes out every week. We have a schedule, there's only so many times I can do that. And there's other outlets that I use. Maybe I pick up the Instagram story and just talk to it. Maybe I'm sending emails or whatever the case may be. So I think it's a great channel, and I'm always excited about people doing new things on these platforms. And I know I love reading it, especially because, you're watching, and all of a sudden there's text, and it's like, and you start reading through the text, and all of a sudden you read a blog post because it's consumable.
And not only that, you are allowed to get away with the quality being different than if it were a professional thing. Like, let's say people are listening to this podcast and all of a sudden they start hearing this.
Yeah.
Like, that's super annoying. But I can be doing that on a phone. I'll be outside. I can say something. I can, and it doesn't matter.
A truck can go by. Like
people know, okay, it's spontaneous. It's in the moment. Like, the quality doesn't need... The content is more important than the quality.
Absolutely, and if the content can be there, I think no matter how you deliver it, there's only so many ways to do it. You can deliver it in video, you can deliver it in audio, you can deliver it in text. That's it. So that's it. Maybe creative photos. That's it. So those are all the content platforms, and it's just exciting because now everyone is doing photos and videos because of Instagram, and I'm very excited about obviously the podcast because we do audio, and the other great example is text. You're doing a great job there. Another great job in your email newsletters as well, which is something everybody should go sign up for. Do you have a URL for them to go do it?
Yeah, you guys can just sign up to it at MahdiTheMagician.com or beforemagic.com. If you go to either of those, it'll pop up on the screen and you can sign up.
And he sends great emails. And I just wanted to give him a little plug for the emails because he's doing great at writing and stuff like that. And I love receiving magic emails in my inbox that aren't like, that I don't feel
Buy
that are
this new deck
exactly
of cards.
like when I get an email, it's like this new gimmick is never before seen a million times. I'm like, I don't want to get this stuff. But when I'm getting magic ideas from human beings, whether it's an Instagram story or an emails, whatever, super, super exciting for me. So quick plug.
Well, yeah, I mean, my emails, I never wanted it to be sales oriented. I think the first really big email that I sent out with my list was sort of sales oriented. And then after that, I haven't sold anything since, really. It's just been like, oh, hey, I have this new video, or I have this, I have no problem linking to other people's content. Yeah. If I find something cool online, like, Derek Delgadio's video or Franco's video that was featured on Vimeo, I'll share it, or
Absolutely.
I'll share, whatever I feel like sharing. So, and it's really for everyone. It's for laymen, it's for magicians. Yeah. Anybody can read it. It's
fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about some of the television show appearances you've been on. I know you were just in one on the other side of the world, and as well as Penn and Teller Fool Us, which is a very, very exciting one. Let's start with Fool Us, and then we'll talk about the appearance you were just on.
Okay, so what about Fool Us?
What tell us about it. What was exciting, memorable, interesting? Maybe is there something that you can add so that somebody who watched it at home gets something that was behind the scenes? Or
I will say, I had a piece of advice given to me years ago by Uri Geller, and the advice was, whenever you get the opportunity for publicity, take it. Like, just take it. And, like, obviously, like, okay, Uri Geller, obviously he follows his own advice. Yeah. He's not kidding around. He actually does that. And I found that especially true. I never wanted to do TV before. I was almost afraid of the platform because I always see magicians arguing, oh, is America's Got Talent good for me? Is it good for my career? Is this going to be good for me? What if I don't fool Penn and Teller? And I'll tell you, none of that matters. You could literally... Actually, there was somebody who actually fell on stage on Penn and Teller. I don't know if it was planned or not. I saw it in season 2.
I don't remember.
Somebody fell on stage. And it's like, who cares? The point is, you're on national television. You're getting your magic out there. You're getting your name out there. Regardless of whether you fool them, you win America's Got Talent, your magic.
It's one more platform that you get to share it on.
Well, and how many other times is your magic going to be seen by millions of people? Really, unless you do thousands and thousands and thousands of shows, you can't get that exposure easily. So I would say, to me, as soon as I did it, like something just went in my mind. It's like, just do as much as you can.
Yeah.
All my friends told me before, okay, because I had opportunities to go on a lot of shows that I turned down stupidly. And if I could go back, I would go on those shows. I had opportunities to go on Jimmy Kimmel, on Ellen, and I was always like, oh no, I don't have anything to sell. I don't have this. I don't have this ready. I don't have this ready. Oh, I want to promote this product. And it's like, it doesn't matter. Even if you go on a show, it's not like you're going to go on and they'll never invite you again. Yeah. If you're good, they'll want you to go back. Yeah. Penn and Teller are proving this with the newest season of the show. They're bringing people back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because, they know that's
millions
quality.
And millions of views.
They know that's quality and they'll bring it back. And it's the same thing with all these shows. So one thing that I wish I would have learned earlier is to never be afraid. Just go for it. Prepare what you're doing. Do a good job. And, get ready for the next one. I mean...
So when you look at a show like Penn and Teller Fool Us, when you went out there, were you like, I'm trying to fool them, or are you just like, I want to show off the sort of thing that I can do?
No, I never planned to fool them. First of all, I didn't have any material that I think I could fool them with. And you see this with a lot of people who go on the show. They perform something that looks like really new. Like they literally devise a routine for the show to try to fool Penn and Teller. And I think that's the worst possible way to approach it, because nobody cares if you fooled Penn and Teller. Like, literally nobody cares when the magic rolls. Okay, you come up with some obscure mathematical card trick. Yeah. Oh, you fooled them. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And if you don't fool them, if you do a really good job with, sleight of hand or whatever routine you do, if you do it well, that's what people care about. And you're going to be using that video for the rest of your life. So it's like you might as well be doing your best work
You're trying to put yourself in the best light.
You're trying to fool the people watching the show, not Penn and Teller, right?
And even when you advertise yourself later, I mean...
I was on national television.
Yeah, I was on this show. You don't put first of all...
people don't even understand.
I've never once advertised that I fooled Penn and Teller. I mean, I put it as a quote on my website, you fooled us, but it's not like, oh, the magician who fooled Penn and Teller, because right now, there's like 20 magicians who nobody cares.
100%. It's just about doing quality magic on that show, and it's something that I'm so thankful that exists for magic and for magicians. Like, that show's an example, and I think that, as we're talking about sort of how exciting what technology is doing for us, it seems that there's just a huge flux of television magic shows going on, and it's just like incredible.
I 100% believe that the new era of magic
starts like now.
Is going to be revolving around the internet 100%. And it's slowly starting to happen. There's guys doing stuff online, but there hasn't been a great magician online before. What I mean by that, there was television magic for a long time. There was never any real television magic before Doug Henning, before David Copperfield, before David Blaine. There were guys on the platform, but they didn't take it to where it needed to be. And I feel like the internet, the platform is there. There's lots of people on it, but they're not taking it where it can be.
You don't think it's Jabrizi?
I don't think it's anybody doing it yet.
Even the people that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and viewers, that's not billions. That's not millions.
No. Right now, there's a vacuum. Like, David Blaine has a YouTube page. I
didn't even know that.
Look,
I didn't know that.
David Blaine has a YouTube page. I swear to God. And because of the clips, because of his recent show, he has about 250,000 subscribers. Before that, he didn't have many subscribers, and he's allowed to use that content. But can you imagine if a guy like David Blaine, with using the methods he used to transform television, was online, using it for the internet, and no one has breached it yet. I 100%. Really don't think anyone's breached it.
And I agree with you. And one of the things that is happening right now online is there's a lot of magicians nailing it. Like, one of the things that I always think is so exciting is Chris Ramsey, and the reason is because his material is almost interesting, because it's often comedy about magic, and which is only exciting for magicians, which is great that he's got 400,000 viewers. But I would agree with you that, that is not something that I would point my non-magicians to be like, this is it, we're here, that's me to share amongst my magician friends. There isn't anything online. I don't feel confident to share I'm saying this coyly, but not really, a Julius Dean, a Rick Lax, a Jabrizi, those don't excite me to share. Not because, and I don't feel as negative about it as other people do, but almost because I'm not really look at this guy. I'm kind of here's magic.
That's what I mean. There's no one. I mean, first of all those guys I think are doing a great job.
Yeah,
I really
I'm not
think
very
they're
negative
working
about
hard,
it.
And it's great that they're getting magic out there on the platforms. I will say, though, that it hasn't reached that level where there's no YouTube magician that's a household name. Mm-hmm. David Copperfield, David Blaine, household names. and the internet's big enough that somebody could become a household name. Like PewDiePie on YouTube is a household name. Almost everybody knows who he is. The same thing could be done for Magic. It's not, I mean, obviously it's difficult. It's not easy, but it's funny. Nobody's cracked it yet. Nobody has cracked it yet.
It's interesting. Like it's got me thinking, like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? Like, what is the format that will make you the next David Blaine? Like, that's tough.
I think the format is more long form. I hate this 15-second shit. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I hate it. I hate it so much. Well, you know,
the Instagramification of Magic.
You click on a video and you literally see a staged event where it's like, here's a magician, he's facing the camera, there's like 5-6 people behind him, and he's doing a magic trick, and everybody's freaking out. And it's like, there's no, you know what it is? There's no emotional content. You're not sucked in. It's just like, bam, bam, bam. It's you're not drawn in. Whereas, and I was having a talk with Chris Mayhew about this, about comedy specials. Comedy is extremely hard to capture on film. If you just have a steady cam in the back capturing a wide-angle shot of the comedian on stage, nobody watching at home will laugh. You don't capture that energy. You don't capture that thing. What if you had somebody doing magic on stage, and instead of just being a wide-angle shot, you had some of that, but then you had, you know, multiple shots, and it was edited in so you could see the beauty, and it was cinematic, you know, the person doing that 10-minute routine, but it was shot in a way where somebody could actually sit down and watch it without being completely bored.
And that's part of it, is just no one's producing in that high level.
It's hard. Well, I mean...
Well, there are some people, but it's not really coming out.
I don't think it's been done. I think, like, some companies have sort of done it for, like, product demos, but again, it's they haven't cracked it. It's not at that level yet.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the only person that really comes to mind would be like Justin Willman.
I mean, he hasn't cracked it, but his content
is there. Like, if he had more content and it was like more out there, then I feel like his format, just because the production value is so high.
I agree. I think he's doing the right sort of thing. I just think, I just think it would be, like, if there was 10 times more of him, it could be.
Exactly. There's 10 times more of him, and he was doing it to be big on YouTube, not to be big on TV, right? Because when we spoke to him, that's what he was talking about, how his YouTube stuff is to get him the TV spot. Right?
Well, I think here's the one thing about TV. Regardless of how much wider, and I believe the internet or the reach is infinitely wide compared to TV, the internet doesn't have as much power as television. It doesn't have as much prestige.
Right.
If you have, let's say you have 20 million views on YouTube, it's not as prestigious in people's minds as if you've had a TV show that's on a network. Even if that TV show only has 500,000 views total, people like are dazzled by that power of TV. They're like, oh wow. On TV. It's like,
television.
It's like if you told somebody, I'm an actor and I've done these skits on YouTube and I have a massive YouTube channel. It's like, okay, that's cool. Oh, you have so many views.
And how do you make money off that?
Well, no, but it's the same thing. You compare that person to somebody who's an actor who's actually been in Hollywood movies. Even if they're not a household name, it's still more prestigious. So I think that world of Hollywood and TV still holds a lot more power than we think.
It's very true. Like, you could be in a low budget soap opera and people would be more impressed than being like, I have 2 million subscribers. You know what I mean?
Maybe. It's
at least someone over the age of 31 would probably say that.
Which
is a huge market, right?
What's something that you really, really like about Magic in 2017, and then what's something that you're like really, really hate about Magic in 2017?
Okay, one thing that I'll say that
loves his channel, hates this podcast.
One thing that I will say that I hate is all the fake magic on the internet. What do I mean by fake magic? People doing stuff that's actually not possible for the camera. You know, they have spectators standing beside them, and I mean, we're magicians. We know how certain tricks work. I mean, if you're doing the pen knives, I'm not going to expose anything, but certain routines are angle sensitive. Yeah. And if spectators at the wrong angle, they'll see how it's done. The same thing with certain color changes. Same thing with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And many of these videos, you have people standing where they can clearly see what's going on.
You're hitting the nail right on the head with what I was saying when everyone was going bananas with the Jabrizi video. I was like, we all knew this was happening. We were all watching these guys do snap changes and having people surrounded be like, ah! We all knew this was happening. Why is this video your big expose? Like, weren't we all smarter than like this? Like,
I think everybody knew it was happening, but nobody had been like exposed.
There wasn't like a virality shareability to it.
Like he got caught. I mean, I don't really. I mean, I met Jabrizi. I think he's super nice in real life. I don't know why. I understand why he's doing that.
It's to make amazing magic-looking content. Like,
it's because that's what's working right now on the platform. If you make really short content that's like bam, bam in your face, and people are freaking out, it's very shareable. It's much harder to make, a 5-minute video about one effect where you draw people in. You actually need to have a real presentation, a real script, and somebody to shoot it well. It's so easy to make these videos. That's why you're seeing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and I don't know. I feel like what I find frustrating is, let alone the angles thing, it's just, I can tell, because I've been doing magic, I can tell what a genuine magic reaction is and what a fake one is. Yeah. And when I watch the videos, I find them hard to consume because I'm watching it going like, these people don't actually like what they're seeing. You know what I mean?
What gets me is I remember the feeling that I had at David Blaine's special. I think it was Real or Magic, when he was doing magic for celebrities. And I went, this is brilliant. And everyone was like, why? For the marketing? And I said, no, this is brilliant because now he can do tricks which we know are not stooged, because he's not stooging Bryan Cranston. He's not stooging Drake. He's not stooging Kanye West. Like, he's not. So what that allowed him to do is these effects which, when you put the camera on it, it dulls, like, there's certain, you say, name a card, cut to it, there it is, right? Like, he would do tricks where someone would name a card and then it's under their watch, and we know that he didn't stooge it, not just because of their reaction to it. So the reason I bring that up is because we look at that. I remember when I looked at that, it was like night after night that I would bask in the brilliance of it. Like, I mean it. Like, I would over and over think about it and go like, whatever team of smart people decided to open the realm of him doing magic so people know that it isn't stooged by reaching out to celebrities was a genius. And then none of that, once we get to this YouTube era, and I don't see stuff on YouTube that makes me go, how brilliant.
You can tell that he gets it. I mean, you see George Bush reacting to a card trick, it's real.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
And I mean, to give you a poor example of somebody who completely didn't understand it, I remember when that video came out, that special, the one where David Blaine did card magic for George Bush and stole his watch. Mm-hmm. I think the day after or the day before, Chris Angel released an episode of one of his shows where he had a literal fake Barack Obama, a President Barack Obama fake. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
He got a look-alike.
Okay, if you guys haven't seen this, look it up. He never says it's Barack Obama, but you see guys walk in suits and they're supposed to be like Secret Service, and then you see like a black guy from the back who looks like Obama, sounds like Obama, and Chris Angel's doing like some impossible card. I forget what he's doing, but it's like so fake, and it's like, wow, like Chris Angel really jumped a shark. Like he like he went full retard. Like it was a disaster. I mean,
did you just find a video of it?
Yeah, there's a video of it, but like this is something else. They're just literally shooting like a black guy with big ears from the back. Like it's the back. It's a silhouette of this man's head.
If you watch the video later, and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's actually insane.
Wow.
But you know, that's a common thing. Like people see something that's successful, and then they try to duplicate it. And you see it with all the many magicians who are on TV now. They're using like Z-list, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
They're like they're not even listed anywhere. They're not on a list. They're like non-celebrities.
Yeah.
But they've been in like a TV show, like a reality TV show. Maybe like I don't know. Some people know who they are. They have maybe 10,000 followers on Instagram. I don't know. I don't know who they are. Anyways, these people think that, oh, you know, David Blaine was so successful because he's using all these celebrities. Let me reach out to celebrities too. And they can't get the same caliber names, so they're getting like these celebrities that nobody knows, and it's like it doesn't add legitimacy. It just like it's just weird.
Yeah, it's just out of place.
So let's say that there's a young person listening.
Sorry, just before we move on to the next thing,
absolutely.
we didn't get to what do you like in the 17th?
Oh yeah. What do you like in like
we got into
2017?
this.
I was
Big
kind of
shit-talking
hoping
phase,
that we would skip
I
that.
had a feeling. I had a feeling.
What do I like? I like that there are people doing really cool, high-quality magic shows, live magic shows.
Yeah.
You have guys like Derek Delgadio, who's you know
fantastic.
killing it and giving magic a great reputation, and other people doing the same thing. And I think we need more of that. Like, I think that magic's been in a really bad place.
Yeah.
And I think it's extremely easy for magic to get into a bad place. And I think the only way to get away from that is to do good stuff. I mean, just overload it with good stuff. There's a famous quote by Ricky Jay. And he says the single best thing that anybody can do for magic, if they're a magician, is to simply perform good magic in a public setting. And I 100% agree with that. Like, you can't educate the new generation much better than they're being educated. They have as many books and DVDs that you know contain all the secrets of the world. The only thing that you can do is provide a good example and just do the best that you can.
Right. So, and I think that it's a good opportunity right now, which we were talking about earlier, how like it's so budding. Like the growth of magic right now is so at a turning point with, you know, magicians winning and going to final rounds of America's Got Talent, Fool Us being a show, Masters of Illusions being a show. Like just magic is at an all-time high right now, and it's our job more than ever to do good magic. Let's say there's a young person listening to this, and they want to do good magic. And let's say that we can't just say do it a lot. We can't just say like those basic things are out the window. How do we get someone to do good magic? What does that take?
Gosh, I don't know. You know, I mean, I see so many people, and I really don't think it's a thing where you spend a lot of time and you become better. I've seen many magicians who spend so much time working on magic, and it's like not good.
They're just learning it wronger and wronger.
I think you have to develop taste, and I don't know how you develop taste. I think watch a lot of magic. I really don't know. I mean, I really don't know how you develop taste. I think taste is
But that's a good place to go.
The number one quality that you can have as a magician is taste. Know what's good for you and know what's bad for you, and know what's good and bad for other people. Be able to identify that. If you can't identify those things, then you're pretty much just flailing. Like, you should be able to go to a magic show and to say,
that was good, that was bad, or I like that, I didn't like that.
I didn't like this, I didn't like that. This guy's got to change this. Like, even if you don't tell them, you should be able to think like that. That ability to think critically is invaluable. You have to have taste. And I don't know how to develop it. I really don't know.
But that's good. But I think that a good way to start is, instead of people focusing on saying like, how do I make my magic the best ever? An option is for them to start and look at their magic and say like, okay, what do I like in magic?
Let me change my answer.
Scrap taste, no taste.
Just forget about it.
Screw taste.
Be tasteless. One thing that I will say is, and I see a lot of people doing this, they're on stage and they're performing, but they're not really performing magic. Like magic happens every once in a while, but the rest of their performance is they're just like talking.
Exposition, yeah.
And it's like sometimes it works, but you should be performing more magic. Like just let magic happen on stage when you're like just do magic. What do I mean by do magic? Don't perform magic. Just make what you're doing more magical. Like whenever you're working on a routine, just think about like how can I make this more magical? And I think if you do that, your magic's gonna just become better.
Yeah.
And it was, a thing that I slowly learned with time. Like I've been doing many routines, and one of my friends said to me once about my oil and water, which is, Mahdi, and this was years ago. He said, Mahdi, your oil and water is really good, but it's more deceptive than it is magical. Like it's entertaining, but it's not magical.
Right.
And what I sort of recognize now when I do it in other routines is if you can create that atmosphere where you do your magic spell, you're waving your hands over the deck, or like I do in the oil and water, I have people pulling their fingers apart after they're interlaced. If you can get people reacting to the magic before you even turn over those cards, and you get them feeling that there's magic happening through the stuff before they see that revelation, I think that's what you should be aiming for, that magical feeling, rather than, how do I make this climax stronger and all this other stuff that people try to tell you. Just make it more magical. Like, just figure out how to make it more magical.
The excitement's in the emotion,
Yeah.
And we know that. And, like, that's what we know from movies. Like, it's when you're on the edge of your chair. Like, I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was watching a show where, like, you saw, I don't remember what the joke was, but you saw someone approaching a door from one side and you saw someone approaching the door from the other side. And the comedic tension was what was so exciting. And every second before they opened that door was what had everyone at home like, on their seats about that moment. That's what I hunt for in my magic. Like, I know when I turn over cards, like, I take my time. When I teach magic to kids, I teach a very easy version of what's the name of that trick where you show like this and that, right? So I teach a very easy version of that trick where the two cards are regular and the third one is a blank card that they write on. And what I tell them is, I'm like, when you're turning over this third card, if you take any less than 10 full seconds to turn over the card, you've wasted the entire trick. The entire trick. Because at that moment, they're going, is it a half two, half seven? Is it a half seven, half two? What is it? And that's when their brain is going, pew, 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 pew. That's when their brain is going, oh, maybe the card changes based on how he shines it. Oh, maybe it's magnetic with the thing. That's the excitement of magic. Their brain is exploding. And like, those are the moments that make people laugh and scream. And so for me, when I've got somebody on the edge of their seat, that's the moment that gets elongated as long as I can. I'll take 10 seconds to turn over that card, look, make a face, look at them, look back at the card, and then turn it over because, we're, like you're saying, that's the emotion, right? We're drawing out that energy. It's not about when the climax happens that it's like 9 other things. It's not about that. It's about people being on the edge of their seats, being all in, being, stuff of that nature. And that's a really good tip. And I think something that's good to focus on, not only like when you're planning for the magic, but when you're in the moment. In the moment, you can say like, yes, I'm at this moment. Everyone's on the edge of their seat. Let's milk this exactly for all it's worth.
Yeah, and I mean, that's sort of what my advice is. If I could summarize it, try to do less tricks and more magic. There's so many things that we learn, and the way we present it is like tricks. And these routines, and they're good routines, but you have like, let's say you're doing a reset routine, and there's like, oh, this happens, and then this happens, and oh, there's a kicker ending. And we present it as being less magical.
As almost being logical.
Many times. But, those routines can be just as magical. It's just like, just figure out how to slow it down and be like, okay, this is magic. This is magic. Look, I don't touch it. This happens. This happens. Like, let the magic happen instead of just being like, well, if I turn this over, it's actually an ace. And then it's
people often talk through the magic. One of the things I always say is, it's magic. We're doing miracles. Remember, like, we're doing miracles. Like, let's not forget that, like, we're doing like incredible stuff here. So I think that's really good. Really pull the emotion out of it. Should we start the wrap up?
Let's do it.
So we have like 9,000 questions at the end of our wrap up. So it's not going to end anytime soon, but there are some rapid fire questions.
I'm leaving.
Okay,
no,
never mind.
I'm joking.
So one of them is the question of the week of the episode. So our audience loves to answer questions and share their opinion. You can basically ask them anything you want, either because you want to collect everyone's opinion or because you want them to, think all introspectively about magic. You have the floor to ask them anything you like. What would you want to ask them?
Oh boy, I wish I would have known that I was going to be asking a question.
Yeah, it's that kind of interview where you ask the questions.
I would want to know from people who's listening to this. Magicians mostly.
Yeah, it's magicians.
I would want to know where you guys are buying your clothes. I mean, what the hell is going on? Like, why are you dressed in a box? Like, where did you get the cardboard box that you're wearing under your suit? That's what I want to know.
Perfect. So, where do you shop for your clothes? Where do you buy your clothes?
I love it.
That's fantastic. Another one of the questions that we have, which I feel like we almost just did with that last point, but I'll still give you another opportunity, is what we call a magic PSA. So you basically have, if my count is correct, 1 million magicians listening to this. Is there, yeah, I know, it's pretty big. Is there anything, I could tell by your face you didn't know that it was that big, but yeah, no, there's that many.
Definitely at least
1 million.
At least 1 million, yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to, in a dream world, tell every single magician if you could? What would that be?
Just please give me your money. No, but seriously, I'm working on a deck of cards, and I'm not trying to pitch myself, but look.
I need money to do this, and you all have it. You have the money.
Running this operation costs money. Give Jonah money. Give me money. I mean, we need money you're funding our operation by listening to this. We provide so much value. Jonah doesn't even sell anything. I mean, if you're not going to give him money, give me money. I'll sell you something. That's all I want to tell you guys. I mean, we're literally starving. All I had today was coffee.
That's awesome.
It's
5 p.m. None of us has eaten today.
And it's true. We're laughing, but it's actually...
We need your money.
If we weren't laughing...
Call 1-800 magicians need...
Sponsor a magician for just the price of a cup of coffee a day. You can feed hungry magicians around the world.
There's a reason we're laughing, and it's because if we weren't laughing, we'd be crying.
Yeah.
So...
But on that note, I'll do my best to spin that to something really positive, but just to say, support your magic, whether it's Mahdi or whether it's
support
anybody.
Your local magic. If you do have a local magic shop, support it. If you have magicians in your area doing magic,
little $10 shows, $15 shows.
And don't only go alone. You don't have to just buy a ticket and go alone. If you want people to see magic, invite your friends, your family. If you have a date, whatever it is, just get people out going to do magic, because it's so hard for people starting things out in no matter what environment they are, that it's good to show the support. You're going
to need it one day too,
You're not necessarily funding them. You want your audience to be more than magicians, obviously. But if you can help them out, because, it's very hard to start anything anywhere you are.
Support magic, whether it's in person or, a lot of people who live in nowhere land need to find magic online. And if it's online, they need to support magic.
And another thing, if somebody comes to do a lecture or workship, buy stuff from them.
Yeah.
People, so many of my magician friends, and I don't want to name anybody, but they've been to Toronto to lecture, and they've been disappointed, and not only Toronto but different places they've been, and have told me
don't buy things.
It's not a good place to make sales. And it's guys, this person has come all the way from either a different city or a different country. Just
support them.
Buy their stuff.
Just buy it.
Just buy it. Yeah.
Basically, give us your money. I mean,
just
I'm going to
just say it again. We're so hungry.
I said it, and then I explained it, and now I'm going to say it again. Just give us your money, and we'll be happy.
Absolutely. What other final segments are there? There's so many that
There's
I even
4. We've done 2 so far, right?
Keep going, yeah.
So we did question of the week, PSA, endless chains. So we want to keep this podcast going forever. One of the things we do at the end is get you to recommend somebody who has yet to be on the podcast for us to interview. The caveat being you have to be able to give us their email. And if you, like you said, you haven't listened to every episode, you can just name people and we'll tell you.
Yuri Geller.
Can you give
us his email?
I will do my best. I don't
Perfect.
know if he'll say yes, but I will do my best.
If you can put us in contact, I'd be absolutely.
Yeah,
Yuri
that'd be-
Geller is extremely supportive of Magic. I love Yuri Geller. I always make jokes about Yuri Geller online.
I saw your jokes about getting your YouTube channel back. There you go.
Watch my Instagram stories. They're very funny.
So good.
I make fun of no, I don't make fun of, like, he makes fun of himself. He's a funny
course,
guy.
of
Like,
course.
he's
Right.
a legitimately funny guy, but he's extremely supportive of the Magic community, even though he's been treated so badly for so many years. So maybe he'll do this podcast. I'll reach out to him and be like,
I would love that.
I would love to have him stop everyone's watches at home. Listen.
Yeah, like whenever I go see my grandpa, about 2 times a year, I'll say, he brings up Yuri Geller and explains the story about how he fixed his watch through the TV in 1970, whatever. And he's like, have you heard of Yuri Geller? I'm like, yeah, from you 10 years ago.
Every 6 months.
So I would definitely send him this episode and be like, I interviewed your hero. Come at me. Stop bothering me about school.
The last and final, I think, part of our final segments is our each favorite parts of the episode. People have been, like you mentioned, I don't know if it was offline or online on this podcast, but people are doing whatever they're doing while this podcast is going, whether they're washing dishes or doing laundry or driving or anything. And we mentioned a lot, and I just want to make sure that people have something really important to take home and even possibly really actionable. For me, it was...
donate now. Donate now.
For me. Usually we each go and mention something, but
Look, don't.
I think we're all just going to simultaneously agree.
Donate.
Donate today.
Don't hesitate. The cost of a coffee, you basically pay for our coffee, which is what we're living on. So donate now.
You basically buy us a coffee, yeah. No, for me, I think one of my favorite parts was just talking about that elongation of emotion in the trick. And also, I was really excited about the notion that no one's really filled the shoes of the online magician yet. Like, that was a really exciting topic, and I think might be, the inspiration that a few people at home need to start up that YouTube account, because you might be the next David Blaine.
Well, somebody's gonna do it one day.
I meant that seriously.
It might take a long time because TV was around a long time
and
before.
Magic on TV was around for a long time,
yeah,
too.
it was a long time before Doug Henning came and really made great Magic on TV. You had great performers on TV, don't get me wrong. They were just on that medium, though. It was not built for that medium, their acts. What Doug Henning did and what David Copperfield, took and ran away with and made it, even bigger, and then David Blaine transformed, hasn't been done with the internet. And it's not even reaching 1% of its potential. Like, literally, it's nowhere.
So I'm excited for that, and I hope that whoever you are that you do it, you say, I got the idea from this episode. So
it's basically going to be me. Subscribe.
It'll be you.
I got my
Subscribe and then donate. Yeah.
No, I got my YouTube channel back. I don't have the video skills. I don't have anything, but I'm really trying to find the right people to partner up with to make this kind of and figure out how to crack this internet thing to make really great content that's not just Magic tutorials and people, screaming behind me. I want to do cool stuff that's real.
Absolutely. So, Tyler, what was your favorite part?
I had a few parts that really spoke to me. One, I loved the story of your journey into Magic and the fact that, you believed that learning Magic means you could do anything and how it opened up a whole world to you and, the story of perseverance through all the negative comments you received. Also, your last name is Gilbert, which is so cool. I just really like that last name. More importantly, you sort of touched on it just now, like how, you don't like people screaming in the back. And I like the idea that you want to see genuine Magic out there. You know what I mean? It's very overlooked, I think, is like the real human connection that can get made. And just the number one thing you can do to support Magic is to do it for real people and go and support it through real people. Also, please give us money. Maddie, what about you?
I would just say what I said before, which is I mean, everything that we're doing is for people, and I really think that the future of all of this is based in emotions. Mm-hmm. Everybody follows what they follow and watch what they watch and engage with what they engage with because they're emotionally connected to it. Mm-hmm. And I find that that's so lacking in magic. You know, Paul Wilson made a great little mini movie, a miniature film on YouTube called The Magic Box a few years ago.
Great.
And it was just like this little story about a magician. And it's like, why aren't there more stories like that about magicians, about magic? Make people
care.
Make people care instead of just like our job isn't just to impress people. Like that's wrong. I don't believe we're just here to entertain and impress people. We have to connect with them. We have to give them things that they can't get anywhere else. I mean, that's how we're going to provide value to people's lives. Bring magic into their life. Make them believe in magic. I mean, and this is the reason why I got in magic was because I heard of somebody and I saw people who were doing things that were impossible, and it made me feel like I could do the impossible. And if we can somehow do that for everybody in the world, like, just imagine how much better the world's going to be. Like,
absolutely.
So when I was doing my portion, my first two were jokes, and then I had a real one, which I forgot when I got around to it. My real number one thing that I think we need to mention is your comment about Penn and Teller Fool Us, which is that all publicity is good publicity, unless, you know, it's actually you doing something horrible. But
don't molest kids.
Yeah, that's my PSA to all magicians out there. But I really think people should not be afraid to get their name out there, you know?
Yeah, don't touch kids, but any other
publicity is probably good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's end on that note.
And with that, we'll wrap up. But I just want to give a big, huge thank you to you for coming to join us on this episode. And I think that you're a really good example of someone who is producing fun content online in different places and really trying to, add that quality magic. I know you're doing some interesting series where you're interviewing some people, and it's just great. And I think the more the merrier of people putting magic online. Like everyone says to me, like, aren't you worried that like someone else is gonna like come and do like a magic podcast better than you? And the true answer is absolutely not. And the reason is Wes Barker started a magic podcast. I'm sure he'll get more followers than we did. Piff started a magic podcast. I'm sure he'll do great. And that's great. And the good news is magic is going online. I want more people to be there. I want more people to be consuming there. The more people like magic podcasts, the more people will listen to them, the more important podcasts will be, So on that note, like, just everyone, more content for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, look, the conversations that we're having here are conversations that people used to have through letters, through meeting up.
In back rooms of magic conventions.
And that sort of ended, sadly, but this is just the new, this is the transformation of that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, people are going to listen to this and enjoy.
Yeah.
There you go. Enjoy, donate, all the good stuff. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for coming to join us. And there it is.
Yeah, you made it a full hour again. You didn't put your pinky in a deck.
There you go. So props to you.
Palm of coin.
Props to you.
You did it.
Props to you guys. See you next week.
Take care.
Take care.
Peace. Well, there you have it, folks. That is 80 episodes under the Discourse in Magic belt. What a weird saying, under the belt. Anyways, if you've been loving it, if you're a fan now, if you were a fan, if you're always a fan, do us a favor, share this or share any episode that you like. Go be active on Instagram. I'm putting a lot of work in there, doing some cool graphics and videos from the episodes. It would mean the world to see your faces. And I'm always checking out your profiles to see who you cool cats really are and to see what you guys are doing on social. So make sure to like up, tag up, share up, all the ups. And thanks for being a part of it. Big ups to you.